Welcome back everyone. This is part 2 of the Equing tutorial. So in this one, we are going to work with a different EQ. We're going to work with the Ozone 8 Equalizer. Why? Because there's more features, there's more stuff we can do than with the FL Studio Parametric EQ2, which is a good EQ, but pretty standard and pretty much you guys that are watching and that are not on FL Studio, you're probably going to face the same limitations with your digital workstation equalizer, because we're gonna tackle mid-side EQing in this part, and that, from what I know of, there's no native plugins in any digital workstation that offers it. This is from my knowledge. If anybody knows any digital workstation that has a built-in mid-side EQ, I'd be surprised to know, and leave it in the comment. But yeah, today, Ozone 8 EQ. Everything we're gonna see in this one, you could do the same thing in FabFilter, Pro Q, and possibly other EQs, but for sure FabFilter, Pro Q 1 and 2 offers the same possibilities. All right. In this example, I'm gonna do the same thing we saw in the first video, but a bit faster because we already know. We're gonna tackle mid-side EQing, and we're gonna see what we can boost and how we can boost. I brought back some more pieces of the puzzle, and we're gonna work with the FX stem here, the FX group, in fact. Lots of stuff going on. First thing first, band 1, high pass, and you remember that 200 hertz here. First, let's look at that. I already hear a difference, but yeah, maybe somewhere around here. Yeah, because you see there's some value here. There's something we need to cut. And that's a tip. You could do it in parametric EQ2 if you're trying to cut those low frequencies and you feel you're removing too much, and you're kind of having trouble, spotting where you actually want to start cutting. You can just use a less steep, more round, slope. Here I started using the 48 dB per octave, but I ended up maybe using the 12. So it's a smoother curve. This sometimes can help, blend things up. So let's do a comparison. Yeah, there's some muddy stuff that we don't need it. All right, and in context. I brought up the volume a bit so we could just hear that example better. I activated the gain match, so when we bypass, we won't have the gain difference in our here. It's just going to be the same gain, and it's going to be easier to compare bypass. So the cut has been made. Let's search for problematic frequencies, and I'm sure there is. In this EQ, you push Alt, A-L-T, and you click, and then you can solo your frequencies. It's gonna be easier than the parametric EQ, because the parametric EQ, we stayed at those values, but with this EQ and others, you can push, so it's gonna be easier to hear the problematic frequencies. FabFilter does it too. There's a little headphone function. You just click that and you can solo your frequencies. So let's do that. So if that's 2413 hertz. So I knew these stems would be the best for EQing tutorial, but because there is a lot of problems in them. Some major resonant peaks right there. So we don't want that. It's gonna be harsh on the here. If we also later in the mix, if we want to apply compression and saturation, it's gonna mess everything up because it's always going to be these nasty frequencies. They're gonna be problematic later, and so just get rid of them right now. So what values you want to remove if you're going more than -3 dBs? It's because it's something really problematic, and that's not the case. You could stay between 0 and -3. Let's do comparison now. It's better, but I'm sure we could do more here. Yeah, 3508. I just want to put that as a bell. 3508. So that's easier for me to remember because, you know, and just say it in English. So we did a first cleaning session. Maybe now we could look for something we want to push. But really, you don't want to EQ for the sake of EQing. I mean, to push just for the sake of pushing, all right? If you're gonna push, it's because at first you feel there's something missing. Is there something missing here? Not sure, but for the sake of the tutorial, I'm gonna look for something I can push. Okay, there's some around here. There's, you know, there seems to be let's say from here to here, there's a lot of stuff that's really resonant, but here there's like some hair, some details, some crispiness that maybe I can bring forward with a shelf. All right, so, and that's gonna be so subtle between, yeah, minus maybe that. Not more than 1 dB, not more than 1 dB. So let's see. Yeah, that does it. That's just all those details, crispiness. We have it here, so that's good. I'm not gonna boost more for that example, just because it doesn't need to. Again, repeating, if you boost because you feel there's a lack of something, not because you want it to sound louder or you just want to make it sound better. If it doesn't sound good, EQing is not gonna fix it. Okay, you need to go back and work on that source sound. Now it's time for some magic. It's something I like to do a lot. It's time for some mid-side EQing. Again, parametric EQ from FL Studio doesn't allow you to do this. Fab Filter 1 and 2 allow you to do this, and for sure there's some other EQ on the market that does, but Ozone, Equalizer, and Fab Filters are the one that I know for sure that does it. It's mid-side EQing. If just right here you can put you can do left-right EQing. If you work on a loop, let's say there's a hi-hat on the right and you want to EQ that, you can use the left-right, but we are going to use the mid-side. What it does, all right, you need to be a bit familiar with the concept of the stereo image, but let's say you have your mid, all right, and you have your side signal. I'm gonna make it fairly easy to understand by just abusing the EQ. So the nice thing you can do also is to solo the side signal and solo the mid signal. So we're gonna start with that. So because you need to understand what the mid-side is, and after that we can tackle the mid-side EQing. So I'm gonna solo the mid, and when we say mid, we say stereo-wise, all right? That's not mid here, those frequencies, all right? We're talking mid, like middle, and side, like side. So I'm soloing the mid signal only. Now I'm soloing the side signal only. Now I'm gonna go from side to mid so you can hear it properly. And if by any chance you're watching this on laptop speakers, on your cell phone, just pause the video and listen to it later in your studio, because that's not gonna do it. You need, I recommend pair of headphones or decent monitor, studio monitor setup, all right? So I'm gonna go from back and forth from mid to side. You can follow here with me. And together. Cool. Now, what does that mean? All right, it means that you can not only, EQ the frequencies you EQ every day, but you can also, let's say, decide you in your mid only you want to clean the below 100 hertz, or in the mid you want to clean more, remove more bass, and you think that's a whole new world of possibility that opens for you. You can make a real difference between a good sounding mix and an element that really blends properly in the mix, and you can actually make things sound wider, all right? Because the best way to make things sound wide is contrast, not necessarily just putting stuff and stretching it like crazy. The mid-side EQing is a good way to make contrast between the mid signal and the side signal. I hope you're following me there, because if you understand this correctly, it's gonna make your production sound way better. So what you can do is cut a bit more on your mid and leave a bit more signal on your side. So what is going to appear like your sound is wider, all right? So I'm going to do that right now. So I'm going to cut the lows on the mid section. So the mid high pass is at 388 hertz, and the mid is going to be all right. So now let's do a comparison. Well, there. I hear it. I'm gonna, maybe just for the sake of this example, just put it a bit more than it should so you really hear the difference. Yeah, so in that case, I would have cut too many lows on the midsection, but you hear the spreading effect that it does. That would be the setting I would go for. And remember, those are like it's not necessarily lead section, it's more like FX section, the atmospheric stuff that's going on, and that I want to be on the side. I want to blend properly in the mix. So I wouldn't cut that much for a lead section, but for FX section, that's just perfect. Time for a final comparison. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bypass everything we did on EQing for that sound. Also, after that, we're going to listen to it in context. Sounds great. Just read the difference between an element that's just there and an element that blends properly in the mix. And that's just EQing. We haven't done any compression, saturation, or anything more than this. But again, that's the basic. If you don't get your EQing right, there's nothing that's gonna fix it on later stages of your production. So time for a second example. Remember this guy from the part 1 tutorial? This is the same channel, but later in the track. We work on that section on the part 1. And this is another section later in the track. We're gonna give this guy a mid-side EQing. I'm gonna put it on mid-side, and I'm gonna do a similar process that I did with the other sound, but what I'm gonna do is also put a boost on the side to try to push to have a better stereo image feeling. I'm gonna see how it sounds. There's some fatness here that I don't want to lose, so that's why I don't go more than this. Now I'm soloing the sides. So right now for the low cut is the high pass is really similar from the mid and the side section, but I'm gonna look for a nice frequency I can boost. I'm gonna just get a bit less of this, and okay, why not here around 1K? Just it's like some nice beefy textured growling stuff. So I'm gonna bring that not more than 1 dB. Now let's do a comparison for the mid-side EQ. All right, don't get fooled by the fact that it's sound a bit thinner because we remove some low frequency. When it's solo, of course, we can feel like it's there's less stuff, less presence or anything. But again, you really need to always go and listen to it in context. Especially in this track, there's lots of stuff going on, so I really don't want things to interfere with each other. So let's hear it in context. What I would do, maybe this is not EQing necessarily EQing wise, but I would bring it just a bit louder in the middle. So this is it for part 2. We saw how to clean and cut with the Ozone 8 equalizer. I just want to remember you that you could do all of this in the FabFilter equalizer 2. That is a really popular one. This one and Ozone 8 equalizer have very similar feature. I use Ozone 8 because it's the one I own, and yeah, so just remembering you that it's all translatable to those plugins. We also saw the mid-side EQing, how you can affect your stereo image and clean even more by doing different EQing setups for your mid and your side. Hopefully this is gonna take your producing game up a step. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe for more content by myself and other Ghost Act producers. Also check out amazing samples on the Ghost Act page and Ghost Act website. All is in the description. And there's a part 3 where we tackle another plugin and another style of EQing. So stay tuned for part 3 and have fun EQing those frequencies. Ciao.